Okay, gentlemen, let's talk about open space in Diamond Hill Park. The McKee administration came up with a formal plan, approved by the state, to fill in the pond in front of the bandstand and relocate it, as well as to renovate the park. Neighbors objected to the plan they perceived as making the park busier. Entertainers complained that the pond is a big impediment to an enjoyable concert. What would you do about Diamond Hill Park, and specifically the pond in front of the bandstand? Let's start with Dan.
We have had a study that cost us approximately $60,000 to rehabilitate the Diamond Hill State Park. Not only that's the pond situation, the bandstand situation, but the restroom facility, the parking lot, and the entrances to the ball fields, and some of the dredging and or rehabilitating the retaining walls for the pond that's going by there. I understand that we also have a plan in place that is an option to either fill in the pond and what the circumstances would be involving that. Also, the fact that we could aerate the pond and what the circumstances would be to go in that direction. And also the fact that the people would have to give us their input as to what they were looking for. In my campaigning, some of the people felt that the sky was coming down at the Diamond Hill area, and I was just baffled as to the reason why. Well, they thought that we were going to have Comcast-type concerts, that we were going to have hundreds of thousands of people, and that the pond was going to be completely buried. And I don't know where all of that information or those ideas came from, but I know that we do have a comprehensive plan that's in place. There is also a DEM permit that was obtained by the town of Cumberland. Should it be needed, it's already there. Should it not be needed, then we lost nothing. But there is some direction on it. We do have a study that was done. It's a $60,000 study that was done by a local firm, and the people are looking forward to making sure that that open space is going to be well maintained and well directed and keep it to the town of Cumberland.
Tom, thank you for your question. It hits near and dear to my heart. Diamond Hill is a gem that we have in Cumberland, and we should not only protect it, but we should take good care of it, improve its facilities for the enjoyment of our families, children, and future generations to come. There is a big misunderstanding in all of this. The pond has been there for many years and was never an issue until recently. And I question that, why now the pond is a problem? The pond has been there for the enjoyment of children that go there yearly to fish with their parents, and it should continue to be there for this reason alone. The pond is part of the comprehensive plan that the town has, and in fact, that same comprehensive plan calls for a fountain in the middle of the pond. The park, as I said before, is in need of attention and caring. It's been neglected for too long, so I'm not in favor of closing the pond or doing anything else but improve the park's conditions. The dam is broke, therefore the pond doesn't receive the needed amount of water to stay clean. The retaining wall on the river broke, untaken care of. And that's the reason why when the people look at the pond and bad-mouth it, saying it looks bad, it's ugly. Don't blame the pond, don't blame the park. I can say here to you today in all sincerity that the same tactics were used on another park in my district to facilitate its selling it off for the construction of a building. And to this day, District 1 doesn't have a public park. District 1 will never again be the same area of enjoyment that I had the pleasure and other families. So my point with the pond at Diamond Hill is, don't blame the pond, blame the people that are responsible to keep up the parks.
Tom, you know this is dear to my heart, Diamond Hill Park. I'm not Johnny-come-lately, as some others are. I've been on this thing since I became a councilman, even before that as a resident in that area. Diamond Hill Park was taken over by the town from the state, and it was in deplorable conditions. I think everybody that was around knows that. It was fixed up, has been worked on. We have a great Parks and Recreation Director, and Mike Crowley, who's done an excellent job. And by the way, I can't speak for Mr. Alves. Mr. DaCosta has never met with him to find out what are the issues up there, if there are any. I have made a stance. I've been sitting monthly on the board of the Parks and Recreation for 2 years. And we've discussed a lot of things. A lot of it has to do with money. Mr. DaCosta doesn't want to raise taxes, but yet he wants to fix up the park. That doesn't happen. I have come out, and I'm the only one that came out with a plan that has been published. And that plan included the daily maintenance with our town highway department, the bathrooms, the ski lodge, who, by the way, we rent out and make some money. But let's talk about what I want to do rather than what has been discussed by others. And one of the things that I feel very strong about is we got to utilize that park. We just witnessed 500 people at the celebration for the baseball team. And so you're not going to put anybody, we couldn't find a parking space there, and you were there, Tom, so you know that. So how could we go for big concerts, which is what the word is being spread, or large things that we want to run in there? I met with Russ at Blackstone to talk about having on the stage, having some small things like Shakespeare in the park, small groups singing, and that's what I think we have to do, and to maintain everything.
Dan, and 1 minute, and then 1 minute for everyone to keep.
My father, God rest his soul, and my mother, who is still with us today, enjoyed many a concert out there. Many a concert out there. The acoustics was nice, the pond was beautiful, and the surrounding area was just tranquil for them. And many people enjoyed it. And I still say that can happen again, and it will happen again. I feel, though, that if, in fact, the repairs that are necessary according to the plan, that we just spent $60,000 on to you give us the direction that we need to go in, is followed, we do have a couple of options, whether we keep the pond or we don't keep the pond. If we do, we have a permit that's in place. If we don't, then we're all set. But there is some work that has to be done there, and we know what direction we have to take. We do know that the upkeep, the general upkeep, can be done within the town of Cumberland from our highway department. But as far as these repairs goes, these necessary things that we have to look forward to, I agree that we have to go forward with something and just bring it back to its good, long life.
Thank you, Tom. Councilor Murray twice pointed to my record in reference to Diamond Hill Park. And let me tell you what the record shows. The record shows that Mr. Murray voted no against saving the pond and voted yes to close and relocate the pond. Mr. Murray voted in favor of placing the safety building complex at the monastery, which again, it's sacred ground. There's an ordinance 012 that negates that. And in addition, Mr. Murray was in favor of voting in favor of the parking lot expansion on the O'Neill Funeral Home, which, as a business, there's a justification there, but at the cost of wetlands. So the record shows that Mr. Murray, although he's speaking very highly about Diamond Hill Park, his voting record shows to the contrary. And personally, I've met with the people that have been affected directly, neighbors and abutters, and to say that I never visit the park, it's an untruth, and I take issue with that.
I'm not going to get into mudslinging or a debate about that. I'm just going to talk about the fact that I voted for the master plan. Some others didn't. All the master plan is, as Mr. Al's pointed out, he is correct, is a blueprint. It's a blueprint of what we do up there. I don't have to justify anything about whether we move the pond or we don't move the pond. That's all in the master plan, and that's going to be voted on by the next council. So those are the simple issues. As far as Currier Park is concerned, it was a 7-0 vote to move that park, and now we're going to have a beautiful park at BF Norton to replace it. I don't know where the argument is on that. So I stand behind my record as to the Diamond Hill, the monastery, and all the other recreation facilities in the town.
Now we will move on to our closing statements of 90 seconds each. We'll begin with Manny DaCosta.
Dear friends and fellow residents of Cumberland, on September 9th, you will have the opportunity to elect the next mayor of Cumberland. A mayor that will set the course and the future for our town. The choices are very clear. The continuation of the status quo, the same old policies that brought us deplorable road conditions, attacks on our public parks and recreation areas, that every single year they've been in power, they raise taxes on our residents, and in a way cause an unfortunate situation to our educational system. Or you will have a choice to choose a candidate that stands for change, a change where your voice will be heard, your concerns will be addressed promptly and respectfully, and will provide an administration of service to the people, an administration that again will hear you and will be a partner with you in the major issues facing our town. So on September 9, as you enter the booth, the voting booth, and you close the curtains behind you, I ask you to consider these questions. If you answer no to them, there's only one option, one choice: to support a candidate of change, to move our town to prosperity in the future and provide our children a great opportunity for our town. On September 9th, I ask you for your vote. Thank you very much for your attention. May God bless you, and may God bless our great town of Cumberland. Thank you.
Okay, Bill, you'll have a few extra seconds there.
Marcia and Tom, again, I want to thank the Valley Breeze for holding this forum so that the voters of town can ably hear all the candidates' plans for the great town of Cumberland. Remember, I'm the endorsed Democrat candidate. I'm the only candidate for mayor with a plan to keep Cumberland moving forward. I believe my business experience and my work on the town council gives me that background to be the mayor Cumberland needs. I have testified to the State House on bills that affect Cumberland. I've worked on a number of projects in Cumberland. I have met and been very involved with Franklin Farm, Heritage Park, Land Trust, Senior Center, and our recreation programs. I have the only plan for Diamond Hill Park. These are issues I have not been heavily involved. I have been involved heavily in the years, not just because I'm running for mayor. I led the fight to make major improvements to Tucker Field, the fire merger, increased funding for our schools, worked to hold the line on taxes, no tax increase in this year's budget, and worked to bring new business into town. I've been involved in discussions with bond rating agencies and will continue to do that. With a strong business background, I will work to keep the town budget under control and keep property taxes down. To keep Cumberland moving forward, I believe the town needs a strong mayor, and I'm that person. We need a mayor who can and will get things done. Where record shows that I'm this type of person. I have great plans for the future of Cumberland. Cumberland is a great town and has a great record right now, financially strong, and I believe that we just have to keep the ball moving. The mayor's position will be decided in our primary, so I respectfully ask for the Democratic primary on Tuesday, September 9th. Please vote for me. Thank you.
I want to thank you also for this forum and allowing the general public to get the ideas of where we're coming from and what we're doing. I've been in this town all of my life, 66 years. I've been in business for 40 years in the town of Cumberland. I've had the pleasure of serving the residents of the town of Cumberland as a council person, a council president, and also as a liquor board chairman for a total of 18 years of service. One of the things that I wanted to bring out is the fact that somebody has rumored that Danny Alves is running so that he can get 2 more years in to receive a pension. That is not a fact. It's not a truth. The fact is that we are involved with being on a town council. We receive a stipend, nothing else, no benefits whatsoever. But as far as going in a positive direction, I feel that I have had the experience not only through the political field, but also through being in business and also through being a person of residence here for 66 years. And I do know that we have to be able to bring in good, clean industry. that we have to work with our children so that they learn today and they lead us tomorrow. And to work with all of our services that the taxpayers pay for and make sure that they don't become anything else but the very best that we have. And we have that now, and we want to make sure that we can expand on that. So based upon these facts, based upon the fact that I've had some good results with getting ideas from the town of Cumberland, I want to be able to implement them with the people of the town of Cumberland. And I formally ask you to vote for me on September 9th for the position of mayor of the town of Cumberland. And I respect that very, very much. And I say that we have a good town and we can make it better. Again, we can make it better.
Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.